Hello YouTube, hope you're having an amazing time. This is Mamba Code and I'm back with yet another new kata. This particular one is called Invite More Women. That which is exactly what we want to do in this channel. We want to invite more women and men as well. I'm sorry I've been away for a while. I've been handling some things, but hopefully from now on I'll be moving videos consistently. Now, let's jump right into it. This particular one is called Invite More Women, as I said earlier, and the task is King Arthur and his knights are having a New Year's party. Last year, Lancelot was jealous of Arthur because Arthur had a date and Lancelot did not, and they started a duel. To prevent this from happening again, Arthur wants to make sure that there are at least as many women as men at this year's party. He gave you a list of integers of all the party goers. Arthur needs you to return true if he needs to invite more women, or false if it's all set. The input will be an array. In the array, -1 represents women and 1 represents men. The output will be a Boolean value, true or false. He will return true if Arthur needs to invite more women, and false if he doesn't, if there are equal number of men and women, or there are more women than men. Okay, so what do we need to do here? So the first thing we need to do is to determine what we need to do, if that makes sense. So okay, let's come down here for the test cases so that we can be on the same page, on the same screen. So for this particular test, there's a 1, a -1, and a 1. So these are 2 men and 1 woman. So this should be evaluated to true because King Arthur needs to invite more women because there's only 1 woman and two men. So for the second case, there's a -1, -1, -1. These are 3 women. -1 plus -1 plus -1 is -3. So these are 3 women and no men. So we does not need to invite more women because there are already more women than men. In the third case, there's a 1 and a -1. 1 woman, 1 man, which is what the Bible says. 1 woman, 1 man. So we should evaluate to false because in this case, he does not need to invite any more women. In the fourth case is 1, 1, 1, which is our first. So this one should be true, because this is a definite true. It definitely needs to invite more women because there are 3 men and no women. So let's go to the code. The first thing what you need to do is to accept the list. Second thing we need to do is to first thing is to initialize a counter. Now what this counter will do is to keep track of whether true or false. Okay, whether is to keep track of is to keep track of the list so far. You keep track of the list so far so that you can know whether King Arthur needs to invite more women or not. Third thing is to iterate the list. Sure you type that not correctly. Third thing we need to do is to add the current element to the counter. I'll explain in a minute why I need to do that. First thing is to evaluate the counter. Fifth thing is to return a boolean based on the value in the counter. let's get to the code. So the first thing is to initialize a counter. We'll call it integer def, call it counter, initialize it to 0, which will be the beginning of each iteration. So we need to iterate through this list, and there are many ways of doing it in that. In this particular one, I'm not going to use the normal one, which is the for loop. Instead, I'm going to use a for each loop, which comes just put in it. For those of you who don't know, hope you learn. So for those of you who know, hope you'll do. Don't skip the video, please. Okay, so for each loop, it takes an arrow function. This is how an arrow function looks like. The nope. Then in the square, in the curly braces, this way we'll execute the code which you want to execute for every iteration of the loop. Now in these brackets, element, we'll call it element. You can call it anything you like. This is basically what you'll be holding a value for each. We'll be holding a value as we iterate through the loop. So in the first iterations, for example, down here, the element will hold 1, and the second one will hold a -1, and the third one will hold a 1. Sorry for that. So what do we want to do here? What we want to do, we want to update the value of counter to be counter plus whatever value element will be holding. So why are we doing this? We're doing this because, for example, in the first I come back to this example. In the first example here, the first one will be 1. So we add -1 and we add another one. So 1 plus -1 is 0. 0 plus 1 is 1. So 1, which means that there's one man who lacks a woman, which will relate to true, meaning King Arthur will need to invite more women. Now sorry for that, sometimes I amuse myself. Now we need to return either true or false. So what are we looking for here? We're looking where the counter has a value less than or equal to 0. If that's the case, that means there are more women, or a number equal of women than men, which should be false, which means it does not need to invite for more women. So if that's not the case, then it will be true. It means need to invite more women. So let's test this out. See what it holds for us. Error. Expected what before counter is equals counter element. Sorry. Since this is inside the for each loop and it's already the for each loop closes here, there's no need for this semicolon. Hope you got that. For those who didn't, you'll catch that next time. So the test cases are passed. Let's attempt this to see what happens. So all the cases are evaluated to true. All the cases are passed. So hopefully I've made sense. If I've not, please don't hesitate to leave a comment below and tell me to make more sense next time. And if I've made sense, please leave a like. I know there are quite a few ways of doing this. Please tell me your favorite, or even if you have an alternative, and hopefully I'll see you next time. I try to make these videos less than 10 minutes. This one has just passed 10 minutes. So see you next time. And for those of you who have not watched this movie, King Arthur, it's quite an interesting movie. It's a classic. It's 2 hours, but it will be worth your time. For those who have watched it, please tell me how you found it. Thanks again. Next time. See you. Bye.